And I did some really dark, like a shadowy color at the top. So let's start off again with our lightest brown, which I think is going to be the burnt umber, but really diluted, really watery. So yeah, that color with more water in it. So I'm just going to fill this in with the brown. And then I'm going to blop some really dark color under where the bird's shadow is being cast. So keep this nice and wet. Oh, so you might have seen my Lisa Simpson tutorial, Manor Mysteries, is saying that she forgot about that. So maybe you've seen it before. All right, so that's the lightest brown of this tree stump. And then there is the darker brown. I'm gonna grab some full-on burnt umber on my brush. Just gonna make some edges. I keep getting a little drop of water that looks like it wants to play. So adding some dark along here, just to define the edge of the stump. And then I'm going to pull really dark up here as the shadow. I don't usually use like actual gray when I'm painting. I often use other colors for my shadows, but sometimes it's what you need. Sometimes you do need the actual gray to make the effective shadow color. Hey Adrian, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in. When am I gonna stream again? I've been streaming every day, and I haven't set up a stream yet for tomorrow, Wednesday, but I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow. The best way to find out if I'm streaming is to have a subscription. Be subscribed to the channel, and then if you know the bell that's on my channel page, if you check for notifications, you'll get some kind of notification when I go live. That helps you keep track of it. Because I'm not on a schedule yet. I might get on one in another week or two if I'm still doing this as regularly as I am, but right now my life is kind of busy and I'm trying to get lots of things done, and including this, but I just don't always know when this is going to be. So I'm glad you popped in though. Nice to see you. Where are you located, I wonder? You might want to share. We've had some people popping in from the Middle East and the UK. So that's cool. All right, so now I'm just adding some little like bark lines down here on the tree stump. And I'm trying to be random because bark is sort of random. And that looks pretty good. I might add a little bit more dark washing once that dries a little bit. But I think I'm ready to start putting in some of the shadows on the bird. So I'm just gonna look and see where is it the darkest. And the bird has the most shadow on his, like underneath his neck and along the edge of his belly. So down under here, and then along this edge, and then there's a couple little shadows that are lighter along there. So to make the shadow, I'm gonna use sort of a grayed out blue for now and see how that works. I just have some already on my palette from the other day. So let's see what happens here if we like make some it needs a little more brown, otherwise it looks like the sky. So let's put that in. It's actually mixing some Payne's gray into this blue. So I'm making feather and feather and feather. So that's like there, and then it's going to be along the edge like this. And then we're going to see some little angles up. And this is the actual under feathers for that section. And then we've got a pretty dark shadow right here around this feather. And coming out from here, there's a fairly dark shadow. And then down along this edge, we're gonna have some fuzzy edges of his wings. So Adrian's in Singapore. Nice. I've never been to Singapore. I would like to go there sometime. I noticed another, there's a couple YouTubers I like to watch while I've been learning how to do watercolors, because that's how I learn everything. It's on YouTube. There's a guy named Tio from parkleblogs.com. He always says that at the beginning of every video. He says, "Hey, it's Tio from parkleblogs.com." And I had to like listen carefully and think, what in the heck is he saying? Parkleblogs.com. Anyway, I think he's in Singapore because he just got a new apartment and he was showing it to us on his YouTube channel. And it was in Singapore. Okay, so I've got some shadows happening now down along the side here. And then this little bit has like the edges of the feathers coming in. So I'm going to figure out how far in they come. So it's like up, oops, and up, like that. And then this one like that. And then over here, we're going to have an even more faint shadow. Might be too much water. Take a little bit off. Even more faint little puddle of a shadow here. And that's looking pretty good. Then we have this lighter section. Okay, so got a shadow up there. I need a nice dark one in here. Yeah, I want to do some traveling, and I think this summer I'm going to go to the UK, which will be fun. Have never been there before. And I'm going in July. And I'm also going to see some other countries in Europe while I'm there. So that should be fun as well. But have not yet been to Singapore. But it's on my list. Okay, so now let's see what's going on here. Let's think about this little wing that's down here by his back leg, because there's a shadow there that I'd like to see as well. So there is just a hint of a wing coming down here like this, and along underneath, and then dark comes around and up. Put it like that. I can't see the whole bird right now because I'm zoomed in on the image. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then there's like these little bloops up here. Looking at lighter and lighter shadows now. And then there's a shadow back here. It comes in from this feather. And there's a little like edge of a shadow there. Another one that comes this way. Up here. And then these feathers keep on going down this way. Like that. And I'm going to zoom back in to see what's happening up here. It's hard. Sometimes the hardest things to paint are the things that you can hardly see, right? Because the shading is so faint. Such faint. It's everything that's white. So you have to paint all around the everything that's white. All right. I feel like this needs to come down lower. Lower, lower, lower. Let's see if I can pull some of that off. Going to see what happens if I try. Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to go pick up some new paper. I'm going to get some Arches watercolor paper, which is 100% cotton. And that should be interesting to work with because it won't dry as quickly as paper that's made from wood pulp. And that will give me some different options for like letting the color sit on my palette while I'm working. And it won't dry as quickly. So that should give me more control. Or maybe it'll make it harder. We'll find out. Maybe I like that it dries quickly. Maybe it will depend what I'm painting. I've never used this kind of paper before, so I won't know till I try it. Okay, so far so good. I'm happy with the subtleties of these feathers. I'm just gonna look at the tail feathers here and see what I've got. Enough detail of this going on. Let's pull up another one from here maybe. I can't really see that happening in the picture, but I feel like it needs to give a little more depth there. And then there is this one more layer that I haven't done. It sort of comes from here. And it just makes these little tiny feathers coming along and up to there. All right, it's pretty good. Starting to like it. I'm starting to like it. Okay, let's look at the bird's face next. I see it is 1/4 to the hour. So I'm only halfway through the amount of time that I allocated for this today. So that is good. Now I'm going to try to mix a nice orange for this beak. And I'm just going to start off with my permanent yellow deep. I'm just going to put this in as like a highlight. So it's going to start back there. I wonder if I can erase a little bit of those blue lines that I have put. Just going to see if I can find my eraser. I have one of those really narrow point erasers that you can, that's a marker. Looked like it might be my eraser. They're the same shape. Okay, this is all pens, just as it should be. Any organized person would not keep an eraser in with their pens. So let's check the next bin. This bin has pencils. One bin left. Uh-oh. Maybe I put it up here. So many bins, so little time. Looking for my tiny ended, I think it's Tombow, and it's an eraser that erases just the little spot that you're erasing. I haven't used it in a while, so I'm not sure what I did with it. I don't think it's in my pencil case. Everything else is in my pencil case. I have an eraser in here. It's a mystery. I'll find it as soon as I stop. Or as soon as I don't need it anymore. I'll be like, here it is. Right where you didn't look. Can't I draw some cartoon characters in the future? Do you mean future cartoon characters? Or in my real future? Does anyone tell me where my eraser is? I'm looking for it. I'm looking for my tiny eraser. If I can't find it, maybe I'll just use one of these, because it's got a pretty small end. But the actual one I'm looking for is perfect for the job. And it didn't get put away where it should, where it belongs. So I'm out of luck. Or so it would seem. Let's just check one more place. I'm going to look in with these Copic markers. Nope. Markers. Makes sense. All the markers are together. Well, the mystery of the runaway eraser continues. Okay, no more searching. I'm just gonna erase. I go on holiday on the 2nd of July. Manor Mysteries. Nice. Holidays are the best. Are you traveling for your holiday? You going anywhere that you want to share with us? Any exciting destinations for your travels? There's so many places you can go when you're in the UK. So many countries are right there. I'm in Canada, and really, it's not close to anything except the USA. And I'm not going there. So, yeah. All right. I've cleaned it up a little bit. So now I'm going to do this wash that I was talking about. I'm not sure how clean this brush is. It looks good. Okay, so here's where I'm going to put the paint. This is water right now. So it's going to come along here, out to the tip, and then in and over where the eye is. That's where the paint's going to go. Okay. So now I'm filling in with this really bright permanent yellow deep. I'm just going to bring it all the way out to the tip. Spain would be awesome. I am sort of sad. I was thinking about going, well, I've already booked all my holiday, and I've booked it with someone else, so I can't be changing things. It's already set. But there's a really cool outdoor art conference in Porto, Spain. Or is that in Portugal? Maybe that's in Portugal. But it's coming up this summer in July. And I won't be able to go because I'll be on my travels. But Spain is definitely on my list. I speak Spanish, so I'd like to be able to use it, be able to go somewhere and speak with people who speak Spanish. I've traveled to Latin America, where they also speak Spanish, which is kind of fun. All right, so let's see what I got going on here. I want to do some work down here now to darken up these lights that I've done earlier. They've dried nicely. So I'm going to have a look, and I need to add some more darkness into this little stump of the tree. So I think I'm just going to stick with this burnt umber, but I'm going to put a light wash on it. So the light seems to be that way, so the shadows will be more over here. So pull that shadow up. And a little bit from that side, but not much. So that looks better. I'll let that do its magic. That's the great thing about watercolors. It's like they're magic. Hey, Assad, nice to see you. You were just here yesterday. That's awesome. I've got 2 returning chat friends from yesterday. I've got Manor Mysteries and Assad both returning. Thank you so much for coming back. And Adrian is asking where I'm from, but I think I just said that I'm from Canada. Maybe you weren't listening, or maybe you weren't. Maybe you asked that. And we've got Vera Vic, and from Haiti. So you're Veronica. Oh, Haiti, that's really close. I've been to Cuba, and I think it's pretty close to Haiti. I'm pretty sure. And so now I'm working on adding a bit of color into this bottom of the bird's tree and leg. So the leg is really, it's almost black just right here. So as much as I don't like to use black, I am going to just grab a little bit of this ivory black. And I'm going to make, with this small brush that I have here, I'm going to make a line just below his knee. And then I'm going to bring this really black color down toward his wing and finish that. All right, that's all the black I'm going to use down here. I might use a tiny bit of black up here at the eye as well. Now I need some dark brown. And Manor Mysteries is having a birthday soon. Happy almost birthday. My birthday was in the winter. And I hate snow. No, I don't hate snow. I hate being cold. And sometimes here in Canada, when it gets cold, it's also really like damp. And so the cold just goes right through your bones and you're freezing cold. Even though the weather numbers don't really say it's that cold, it still feels super cold. And when you have to go out and shovel snow, but it starts to rain, that is no fun. And that happens at least a couple times every winter, where you have to hurry up and go shovel because you've got, you know, 30 or 40 centimeters of snow that if you don't move it, it's probably going to turn into ice, because once it gets wet with rain. Oh, hey. Turn off that alarm. Once it gets covered in water from the rain and then it gets cold again, it turns to ice. And then you've got icy, cold, wet, hardened ice that you can never clear off until it warms up. So Canadians do spend a fair bit of time shoveling in the rain, oddly enough. Okay, so here is the back leg of this heron, which I still feel like is not dark enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of water here just to let these two colors meet each other. I'm going to clean my brush because it's got too much other stuff happening. And I haven't been very good at keeping track of my water situation here, so I have actually turned my clean water into dirty water. So I have to do something about that before I get too much further. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with colors, muddy colors. Who wants muddy colors? Not me. All right, so these shadows are pretty good, but in order to make them look realistic, I need to bring some of that china black up a little further. Ivory black. All right, so just a little bit of black up here. A little bit of black up here. That's better. Blends in nicer, more nicely. You should always paint light to dark, so you finish with the darkest things when you're painting. Otherwise, you might end up smudging some of the light stuff if it touches into the dark while you're painting that. And Adrian has a birthday coming soon too. Oh my gosh, it's going to be June on Friday. Can you believe how fast June has come? It seems like it was February forever. After this, I'm going to paint more things. Well, I've got until about 1/2 to keep on working, so it's hard to say if I'll have time for more things or not, or if I just finish early and go eat lunch. That could happen too. What are your favorite, you guys can tell me what your favorite things to use for art are. Do you like to use markers, or do you like to use paint? Do you like to use pencils? What's your go-to when you're going to do some art? Or maybe you don't do a lot of art yet. Maybe you just prefer to watch artists. All right. So that's that. Now we've got to think about this eyeball. Flag emoji. Flag emoji. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to do his eyeball with a pen because it looks really scary to get in there with watercolor. But I also see a couple of small lines from my watercolor pencil that I want to go away. So I'm just going to blur those in to the shadows in the sky here. Give them a less defined look. There weren't very many of them, but just enough to notice them when you know they're there. Okay, I think the eye needs to be done with marker. Sketching is fun. I know. Sketching is great. It's sort of the thing that gets you good at all the other kinds of art you might want to do, because it trains your eye to see all of the things. Now I've got the tiniest little Prismacolor Premier marker here, and so this is just going to be the dot of the eye, and then I have to draw a circle around the dot. I'm just gonna get my magnifying glasses here. These are the best things ever. You can get super close without getting super close, because when you're too close you can't work. It's like you're claustrophobic, but if it's so close, this makes everything look bigger. It's like having a magnifying glass on my face. Magnifying glasses. Alright, and then it's a little bit thicker on the back side. Just a little bit. I have to take these silly glasses off because I backed up and then I couldn't see anything. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, the other thing that I could do is I could just make some other black lines on here to make things pop out, but I don't know if I will. I think I like the muted look of this. So I think I'm going to call that done. Now I'm going to do this other thing because this picture is done. I'm going to sign it, put my name right on here. So this is my 4th picture in 4 days. This is today's picture. This is yesterday's. This is the day before's. And this is the one I did on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Is it Tuesday? Oh, I didn't do any on Sunday. Right. I took off Sunday. I was busy. Lots of things happening on Sunday. So, but I wanted to do something that's called like direct to watercolor. And that's tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to paint this exact picture again that I just did, but I'm going to do it super fast. And I'm not going to put in any lines, and I'm not going to be very detailed about it. Let me just see front and back. This is the front of the paper. That is the back of the paper. You can tell the difference on watercolor paper because the front is bumpier and the back is like smoother. This is really inexpensive paper, and I got it for cheap, and I don't love it, so I'm going to use it for this little experiment. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint the same picture again, but I'm going to do it in under 5 minutes. This one took me, let's see, what time is it now? It's 12 o'clock. This one took me about 40 minutes. And this next one I'm going to do it in super short amount of time. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to use 2 brushes. I'm going to do this one and this one, because there's this challenge coming up for the month of June, and it's a guy named Mark Terrell Holmes. He's put out a challenge to people to try and do direct to watercolor painting, and without doing any lines on the page beforehand. So that's what I'm going to try and do. It's going to be horrible because I'm terrible at this, but that's okay. I got my beautiful bird painted already with some sketch lines on there. Now I'm going to do the same painting, only no sketch lines. So I'm going to start off by mixing a really soupy tree stump. So here I go, making the stump of this tree with some of the wings dipping into the stump. So there we have the stump. And we can add some depths of color in there because, let's face it, we're not going to be able to draw any lines. We're just going to paint them in. And put in a little bit of yellow ochre because that was my underneath color. Maybe a dab of yellow because this is looking really dark. So just plain old yellow. But my yellow, look how dirty this is. My yellow is covered in blue, so I have to clean it. Just sad. So I'll clean this off. Hey, Marek, nice to see you from Poland. I'm Lisa from Canada. I'm learning how to watercolor paint. I'm teaching myself. I'm going to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm live streaming about it because I enjoy the company. So if you want to come back, probably you'll find me back again tomorrow doing some more of this stuffs. All right. So that is the stump. So what I did was I finished this painting. For anybody who's just tuned in, I finished this painting and it looks good. Now I'm going to do another quick version of it, but first I need clean water because there's no way that all this yellow is not going to interfere with everything else. So I always keep a little pickle jar here that I can dump my water in, and I also always keep a little bottle of clean water so I don't have to go very far when I'm in the middle of something. I could go all the way to the sink, but now I don't have to. Okay, so here we go. We got clean water. This is the one for cleaning my brush. It looks dirty, but it does get the brush clean. And this is the one for the clean paint. So here I go, darkening this up. Darkening this up. So now I know all the colors that I use. This might be slightly easier. So that is the stump of the tree. Next, I need to do the sky around the bird. So I'm going to try and imitate this edge that I made before, roughly, using only paint. So no lines, just paintbrush. All right, so there's my sky color. Now I have to try for the line shapes of the bird. So coming from here, maybe a little more water. Yeah, that's better. Coming from here, we're going to go up on a curve, up and a curve, and we meet up with his neck right around here, and then we come around the neck, up and around like this, and then we come in to the bird's neck, just with a little bit of blue in there. So this is called negative painting because I'm painting the area around the item that I'm doing. And so this is all sky. So some paints are more staining than others, and if you're using a paint that's staining, you will end up with less ability to move it around once you put it on the page. So now I'm going to make his beak, which is going to be long in this direction, and then I come back up and over. 11 o'clock at night. That's late. Hopefully you don't have to get up early in the morning. So that's where the beak is going to be. We're going to come over the head of the bird. Up and over we go. And it's a fairly big head shape here. The neck comes out really far. And so we've got the S shape. I need to see the whole picture here. I've zoomed in. This could lead to trouble. So here's this. This is under his chin. This is where the little sneaky peek is. And then we're going to curve around to that, like so. It's not too bad. I'm going to stay up high here. Now we're going to come over the back of the bird and down all the way to here. And we're going to fill in this other part of the sky. So this is the 5-minute version of the 40-minute painting that I just did. And I'm doing it without drawing any sketch lines. So it's direct watercolor. And this is just for me to train myself on how to see the lines quickly. Because when I'm going to be doing some traveling and maybe painting outdoors, it's nice to not have to take forever and stay in one spot for a really long time. It's nicer to be able to just take a quick picture, like, you know, if you take a photograph, it takes only seconds, mere seconds to take a photo. But if you're going to sit there for a long time looking at your subject, it could move, or you might have to leave, or you could run out of time, or the light could change, so many things. So in order to try and get faster, this is what I'm doing. I'm just doing a little bit of direct painting as watercolors with no sketch lines. School June holidays now. That's nice. It's always nice to be on holiday from school. School is great, but it's also nice to take a break. Do you like school, Adrian? I usually liked it, but I also liked having a holiday after I was, you know, had been in school for very many months. It was nice to take a break. All right, so this is my loose sketch. It looks similar to what I had before. So now, clean my brush. I'm going to grab some light gray with a bit of blue in it. So what did I use for that? I think it was something like over here. Might run out though. More water. That looks pretty good. And now I'm just going to put in the shadows for the wing feathers. So there's like one back here, like a shadow. It's not brown enough. It's not gray enough. It's too blue. Just gonna dab it off while I still can. If it's too blue, it looks like it's sky. So we need it to be more gray. Now it probably is. Okay, so there's like a shadow here, and there's a wing shadow here, and there's a shadow here, and more shadows underneath here, shadows along here, put one here, put some in here, and a little bit along the back. Well, it's kind of looks like I hoped. Let's see, make some more of this color, which is mostly gray but more water. Let's see if that matches. Pretty close. All right, more shadows. Wing from here. Little fluffy bits. More fluffy bits. That's about all the shadow I need here. Put a little bit right behind his eye. And then I need a bit of darker shadow. So I'm going to grab a tiny, tiny bit more of the gray and just darken up this part of the shadow here. And darken up this one. And darken up this one. And put a little bit dark right in there. Okay, now switching colors. So for me, it's morning. It's like lunchtime, actually. It's noon. And I'm not sure what time it is for... Adrian said, school's good, but it's tiring. No, yeah, Adrian. And Assad said it's 8 in Pakistan. And Adrian's asking if it's in the morning or night. All right, Adrian has to go for 20 minutes. I'm not sure if I'll still be here when you get back, but please check in again tomorrow. Hopefully I'm streaming when you can watch. All right, time for the beak. So it starts back here and it goes out like this. And it's gonna have an eye right in there. But there's also some variation in the color, so I'm just gonna grab a tiny bit of this brown and let it do its magic. Not too much magic, just a little bit of magic. Underneath, along here. Okay, so the eyeball is gonna go right there. I'm gonna do that in watercolor also. And now the leg. So I need a really dark brown. I'm gonna use my small brush. And I'm just gonna make an L shape right on the page. Just gonna blop it on here. Blop it. Okay, so it's gonna peek out from here. It's gonna come out past the back of the bird, and then it's gonna turn, come in, to hit that feather right there. So this is his leg. I'm gonna add a little bit of, tiny little bit of black, just to make the edges more shady. And then I've got the black. Might as well do the eye. You think it's dry up there? It's not quite. That's some shadows down here since I've got them in my hand. So I've got the black along this edge. So this is my direct to watercolor version. Hi Pauline, nice to see you. Where are you chatting from? I was painting for I painted for 40 minutes and I painted this heron because people voted for it. And it took me about 40 minutes. I started with some sketch work, and now this one is my direct to watercolor version where I'm just not even sketching anything. I'm just trying to find the shapes with the watercolors. So I'm about to do his eye, but I'm a little scared because I think the yellow is not dry, but I'm going to try anyway. Bloop. hitting something that I'm not expecting to. I need my magnifying glasses again. Otherwise I've had to put my face right over my work. All right, that's okay. Sprayed a little more than I wanted it to. I know what I'll do to fix it. When it's totally dry, I'll dab a little bit of white on top there. Okay, so now let's just see, while I have this dark color in my hand, if there's anything else that I wanted to make darker. Maybe just right along this edge here, I'll pull a little bit more shadow. And under here, a little bit more shadow. Under here, a little bit more shadow. Along here, a little bit more shadow. Direct to watercolor, no sketch marks. It's not too bad. I think it turned out okay. I don't want to overwork it though, because I feel like it's got to be a little bit loose, just because of the nature of the medium. And Pauline is in the Netherlands. I'm going to go to the Netherlands in July. This summer. I've never been before. I can't wait. I can't wait to go. I mean, I have to wait, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be going to the Netherlands. I'm not going to be there very long though. Just 2 days in the Amsterdam area. Now I'm going to make some yellow on top of this beak because it seems a little bit orange and not large enough. So let's see here what we can do. What can we do with this? Add a little yellow into the orange just to change the color. Okay, that will have to do. I'm just gonna look at this from oh, I see. Maybe it needs this right here. That little shape is missing. It was looking like I missed something, and I think it was that I missed that little edge of yellow. Okay, so these are my 2 paintings of the same bird. One of them took 40 minutes. One of them took under 10 minutes in the end. And I'm pretty happy with both of them. I think they turned out okay. Just going to add some shadow here. Not that much. I'm almost finished, but I'm coming back to stream again tomorrow. So you can check, once I get my schedule figured out, I will post it here so that you can find me. And maybe you can join me again tomorrow. I would love it if you could. And if you liked this video, please click like. And you could subscribe. And if you subscribe with the bell notification, then you will get notified when I'm going to be streaming. So that can be helpful. If you want to join me again, you will be able to find my streams more easily. All right. So before I overwork this little bird, I'm going to put just a couple more lines on here and then I'm going to stop. Just a couple. Just a couple. Okay. We're done. That's it. So we have the 40-minute version and the direct to watercolor version of the heron that everyone voted for today's art. Obviously the 40-minute version is better than the quick sketch, but I'm pretty happy with it. So you said Amsterdam is great. Well, that's good. I've heard a lot about it. There's lots of really great culture and food and sights to see. Here in Canada, things are pretty much all the same everywhere you go, no matter what city you're in. It's quite similar. Some of them are more historic than others because we've only been settled here for a few hundred years. But so everything's pretty new in comparison to Europe. So I'm looking forward to seeing lots of really cool things. All right, so that ends the live stream today. It went a few minutes later than I expected it to, but please give yourself a chance to join us in the next one by subscribing and clicking the little bell button, or just come back and check. But click like if you liked it, keep on commenting, and I'm going to be putting up pictures to vote on to see what I'm going to sketch in my next watercolor sketch.